Hello, my name's Dave Kai Piper and it's raining pretty heavily today. Hello, it's going to be a pretty short video today for me in front of camera because the camera's going to get wet and it's all going to go wrong. Let me just adjust you a tiny bit. There we go. This video today is basically going to be about a picture that I took back in 2013. I did an edit of that picture, I'd say the same week, and a few weeks after that I remember doing a black and white version of that picture. However, this is a picture that I've kind of revisited again and again and again, and recently I used it in a survey. This survey was all about, you can find the link in the description, you can still go and do the survey, but this survey was all about what people think about post-production and retouching. So do feel free to go and do the survey after you watch this video, or go do it now and come back. Either way, you'll see this picture. And this picture I used as a reference picture for what people think about edited images. Because there's a big difference about something that's, so let's have a conversation about what is post-production. And this will all make sense, because this is essentially what this video is about. Photography is split up into three identifiable stages. The first one being pre-production, the second one being the actual production, and the third one being post-production. So let's look at those quickly and that'll help everything. The first bit is planning for the shoot. So you'll see on the RMG video that we did lots of planning for that shoot. We made the background, we made the lighting modifier, and we did some work before the shoot to make everyone's life easier at the shoot and the pictures look the way that they did. I even did a little bit of a little bit of practicing on the first day once we had the background set up, because it was set up a day before the actual shoot. I went home and I made a color profile to edit with. So that's all pre-production. That's getting ready to shoot. Okay, that's making sure that you're ready, but also finding out what the best time of day is. That's finding out where to go, all of that stuff. That's all the stuff that happens before the shoot. And some of it can be technical, some of it can be research, but in essence, everything before the shoot is pre-production. Then you have the actual shoot itself. And the actual shoot itself is everything to do with the actual shoot. So that's the production on the day. So that's working with the team or the people or whatever. That's the collecting of the images stage. Then after that, you have post-production. So that's once you've got the images, that's what are you doing with them. So that's the editing process of selecting which pictures you're going to use. That's the process of retouching the images or finishing the images, as I kind of think of it. And inside there's three distinct different levels. There's the processing of the images. Well, so pardon me, I've got hiccups. There's the selecting of the images, there's the processing of the images, and then there's the final retouching of the images. And each one of those stages is a little bit different. Sometimes this happens very organically, but sometimes three different people might do these. As I mentioned, back in 2013, the original edit was done pretty quickly. Then after that, I did a black and white version, but I didn't re-edit these images until yesterday. I actually went back to these as I was prepping for this blog, the pre-production work for the production that's happening now before I go to the post-production stage of the editing bit with Premiere Pro. I actually went back and I spent a day re-editing these images. And what I did is I actually went and did three versions. I actually kind of did 5 in the end, but I went back and I thought, okay, let's redo a black and white version of this picture. Let's redo a color version of this picture, as in how I originally intended to do it. And I'll also do a new version, what would I do today if I was looking at it with fresh eyes? And then I did a few other little different random outputs using the infinite color panel. The infinite color panel. And it was very interesting how, and then I put them all up and I put them on Instagram and I asked people which one they thought was better. And I thought it was quite interesting because there wasn't any cohesive results just from my very small kind of response to that, which one was best. I don't think anyone would have necessarily said this picture from 2013 is better or worse than the one I did yesterday. I technically prefer the one I did yesterday because I feel like I've learned skills along the way. I feel like the skin editing was much better. It's a much more me image for 2020. But is it a better image? It's absolutely impossible to say. What I can say is it's quite clear that my style has changed a tiny bit. It took me a lot less time to do. I remember that first image took me probably a day. I have no idea today why it took me that long. I was able to do 6 edits in like the same space of time, probably even less. Well, maybe that's because I've learned Photoshop a bit better. I've become quicker at working. I now know things I didn't know before. But is the end result any different? I don't know. I'll put all these pictures on my website. I'll put links to everything below, and feel free to go and have a look. Or I'll put them up on the page now, and comment below which picture you prefer. Is it clear that which pictures I've done recently and which pictures I did back in 2013? The next conversation I want to have is let's really explore the differences between the post-production workflow. So let's talk about workflow, but just the post-production side. What happens is the way I shoot at the minute, I've done tethered shoots and I've done untethered shoots. That's the first kind of conversation or bit that you choose. Some photographers like to plug a camera into a computer and be able to real time see those images pop up on a computer on a big screen, and it's absolutely great. It's very, very good if you're working in a studio or you're working with a team of people. It lets everybody have a quick response to what the camera is seeing, and if you're working with a creative director or a makeup artist or your clients there, they can see real time what you're working with pretty much these days instantly off the camera. It means you can color profile the images on the way through. Programs like Capture One are very, very good at doing this. I don't tend to do that. I tend to still shoot to memory cards. Just lets me see the pictures, and that's great. I very rarely even look at the pictures on the back of the camera during the shoot. I'm quite good at figuring out whether I like it, and I just prefer that individual kind of workflow that gives you. I will happily work with a tethered camera to a screen, but I just prefer a little bit of isolation while I'm shooting. If that makes any sense, I prefer a cleaner workflow for me. Anyway, so pictures end up on a memory card. Go home, put that memory card into the computer. Pictures pop up. I then only take the RAWs onto the computer, and I save them manually to whichever file I want to put them into. I then take that file and add that file to my Lightroom catalog. So I'm not using Lightroom to export the images off the card. I've got a manual file structure that I'm using that works independently away from Lightroom, and then I just sync the two up together. It works well for me. After that, I use Lightroom to go through and do the image selects. I'll use a color profiling, red for something that's good, green for something that I'm definitely going to edit, and then I would go back through and look through the red ones and see if there's any I kind of want to add into green. I don't mark pictures I'm not going to use. That just seems like a dead waste of time. I'll roughly know what I'm looking for before I've done the shoot. So in the first stages, I'll have kind of marked out what I'm trying to get. So use a color profiling, green for definitely good, red for something because I think there might even be an orange amber. So I thought I heard a bike coming behind me, but I didn't. Yeah, so I use orange as kind of like an amber. I guess I should use orange or amber as in maybe ready to go, and green for good to go. I don't use red for no. I don't know why. It's my computer. I'll use it how I want. Anyway, so that's how I do it. I then I do pretty much no raw conversion in Lightroom if a picture is going to Photoshop. Not everything does make it to Photoshop. A lot of stuff can be done in Lightroom. Lightroom is a very, very powerful and very capable program for editing. However, pictures like we have with Amelia are definitely going to be pictures that are going to be heavily processed. These are going to be beauty style images. They're going to get the full beauty retouch process, because that's part of the aesthetic of these images. They're not reportage, they're not documentary. They are meant to be a little bit higher than what, higher is the wrong word. It's fine if they don't look normal. They're a beauty conceptual image. That's what they are. It's what they're intended to be. So once the images are done and I've selected the ones that I'm going to work with, I then just send them all over to Photoshop. I don't do any raw adjustments in Lightroom. I send everything over as a raw file because I can do everything in Photoshop. Once I finish with Photoshop, so I'll do all my raw, I'll break this down a little bit really quickly. I'll do all of my raw basic adjustments. Then I will do some healing, kind of dodge, burning. I'll do some frequency separation work. I'll do some saturation work. And then I'll do some color profiling right at the end. And then I'll add probably a little bit of grain, depending on whether the picture's going to be black and white or color. And then I save everything out as a TIFF file. That TIFF file goes back into Lightroom, and that file there I can then either export to send to where I need it to be, or it just goes straight to my SmugMug account, goes up to the internet in a high-res file, so I can share that with anyone that needs the file. My clients have a login, so they can log in and go see that. So that's my workflow. I hope this video was interesting. Remember, go back and comment below which one of the pictures that you prefer. One of the early pictures that we did with Amelia, or one of the pictures I literally did the day before making this video. It'd be really interesting to see, and if you do have time, go and check out that survey as well. There's two surveys, there's a short one and a long one, because the long one is quite long. It'll take you about 15 minutes. There's some really, really good and useful information in there that's very, very beneficial to the work that I'm doing. So if you do have the time, please do the long one. If you just wanted to have a quick look and see what it's all about, that's why there's the short survey there as well. So thank you very much. Take care, bye-bye.
This is growing up. Well, I guess this is growing up.